Next, we'll go to Raymond, where James is standing by. Hello, James. You're on with Governor Pete Ricketts.
Hello, Mr. Ricketts. I just have a quick question on where our stance is in the state on critical race theory.
Well, I'm opposed to critical race theory. Our Department of Education, which, as I pointed out at the top of the show, does not report to me, but certainly that's one of the things where I've had conversations with the commissioner about looking at the kind of content they're providing to schools, and this is something that all parents should be getting involved with regard to their kids' education. I talked about the sex ed standards earlier and how parents can get involved to get those standards scrapped. But really, knowing what they're teaching your kids is going to be really critical to finding out about this. So I encourage parents to read up on critical race theory. It's a Marxist theory. It really is not. It's really un-American about how it teaches us to think about ourselves as a country. And I would encourage parents to learn about it and then find out what is being taught in school for your kids, and be involved in your kids' education that way, so that you can, as a parent, you can have a personal input onto what you want your child learning and what you don't want learning.
Well, now, some states have taken a very firm stance on the critical race theory, and I was just curious if you were going to take a stance on it also, sir.
Well, I'm opposed to it, but again, since the Department of Education does not report to me, what would have to happen is, other than parents getting involved, as I've described already, and reaching out directly and talking to your state board of education, your local school districts, and certainly I encourage that, go to school board meetings as well, and talking to your elected school board members, making sure the people you're electing at the local level are opposed to critical race theory. We would actually, other than those things happening through the parents and what they're doing, engaging directly with the education establishment, we'd have to pass legislation. So that would require a state senator to want to take this up and look to see what we could do to pass legislation to prevent that from happening in our schools. And we haven't had any senators who have picked that up yet, but we may see some action on this next year.
Well, I think next year is going to be too late, but I appreciate your time, sir. I really do.
All right. Well, I think there's a lot, James, that parents can do right now. As I said, this is one of the great things about our state is that local control. So there's a great opportunity for parents to get involved directly with their local school boards to make sure they know what's being taught and to come out, again, opposing this critical race theory.
Next, we'll go to West Point, where Howard is standing by. Hello, Howard. You're on with the governor.
Thank you for taking my call. Earlier in this hour, you expressed your opposition to critical race theory. To help me understand why, would you define for me your concept of critical race theory?
So the critical race theory, and I can't think of the author right off the top of my head who wrote about this, really had a theory that, at the high level, is one that it really starts creating those divisions between us about defining who we are and based on race and that sort of thing, and really not about how to bring us together as Americans rather than dividing us in that, and also having a lot of very socialist type ideas about how that would be implemented in our state. So I guess probably the best thing to do would be read the book or read a synopsis of the book. But from my standpoint, what we want to do is not look at see how we're different and how to divide ourselves, but how to find common ground, how to come together as Americans.
Would you give me your definition of critical race theory?
Again, my definition of critical race theory is about looking at the races and how races have been disadvantaged and really dividing us into those race categories and looking to seek how those races then should be treated versus looking at how we're doing it as Americans.
So you don't see a problem with race issues?
No, I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I think that one of the things we need to do is look at how we as Americans can come together to address this. I just don't think critical race theory is the way to do it.